I cannot believe that this team still has to play 2 more games. Sweet release. It is finally over. The Phoenix Suns have officially been eliminated from play-in postseason contention, and this season has come to its end despite 2 more games remaining. But welcome in to all of you psychos and sickos to the PHNX Suns post-game show presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHNX365 when you sign up and find out why, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. I'm Eric. That's Steven. Noah behind the Mac, making all of the magic happen. And of course, Gerald will be calling in later from PHNX Arena as the Phoenix Suns dropped their third to last game of the year to the shorthanded Oklahoma City Thunder, 125-112. And it is over, Steven. It is mathematically impossible for the Phoenix Suns to even make the play-in with the highest paid team in NBA history.
What a sentence that is. Like, just think about it. That's nearly impossible to have surface. And here we are speaking about the nearly impossible.
I'll be honest with everybody. I'm probably going to get pretty angry in this show. I think that watching games with me has probably become a pretty insufferable experience because you're like, yeah, you nod your head. You're like, yeah. Because I can't stand this team. This team has made me so mad and angry and has sold me false hope on every single occasion. And you know what? They didn't deserve to be in the play-in. No, this is a pathetic excuse of a basketball team. This is a pathetic excuse of the Phoenix Suns organization. This is diabolical. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, Mike Budenholzer, a team full of veterans, 2 young rookies who are promising. If this is what you have to offer us, and I know that we're probably all so numb at this point to this team just sucking. But that doesn't change the fact that this is downright embarrassing. Heads need to roll. I'm talking trades. I'm talking firing. I'm talking on every single level, from coaches to recruiting staffs to scouting to front office to whatever you can do to change what happened this season. It is unacceptable. It is humiliating. It is pathetic. It is embarrassing. It is a disgrace to the game of basketball. It's a disgrace that you have wasted year 10 of Devin Booker. It is a disgrace that you have wasted one of the last years of Kevin Durant playing this beautiful game. It is a disgrace to watch this team game in and game out. And I'm just so sick of it. I'm actually glad they didn't make the play-in because they didn't deserve any sort of positive hope or momentum. This team deserves nothing. And that is exactly what they're getting. Nothing.
Well, you said that perfectly. Kudos to you. Now go ahead and do your breathing ritual.
I'll try.
And stay aligned with the process
Blood
of being
pressure is
better.
going to be up top this whole post-game show.
But I can't help but continue to think about those that are spending their money or that did spend their money to go watch the team play in. Not get the product that they thought they were paying for. And I know there's never anything that's guaranteed with that. Season ticket holders, single game purchasing consumers. Like, it's a significant feeling of underwhelming from the conversations I've had with just random people hooping, random people at grocery stores since I got out here. the energy is they've been very put off by this team this season, and that is a space that you almost can't even recover from. And the only way that they can start to mend those relationships is by significant change.
Oh,
And
it's gonna take.
there's no way you can think that you can do a patch job with this roster. And this I can't even just say the roster. With all parties included, you can't just think that a patch job is going to get this done to shift it to get you back in the top 6. Forget the play-in, to get you back into the top 6.
Forget the top 6, to get you back to enjoyable, right? Yeah. I mean, we're talking you got to learn to crawl before you walk. You got to get birthed before you live. Like this team needs a complete overhaul. And I get the people who are going to say trade Devin Booker. I'll be honest with you. I have fought against it forever. I still personally do not believe in trading Devin Booker. I personally would like Kevin Durant to remain on this team, but I understand those who don't. Now, Bradley Beal, that's a different conversation. I need that guy on the other side of the country. I need him in a different country, away from the Suns. And I know that he had a good game tonight, but that contract, the way that he has helped sink this franchise into this despair, into this pit, it's just depressing. And to talk about the fans, I mean, I know that I'm hitting my mic. I speak as a fan, but I also, I have to look at this from a journalistic angle. I have to look at this from a media angle. Like this thing, the Phoenix Suns, consumes my life. I think about this team 24/7. My job is to watch this team. I watch every game multiple times. Yeah, this is awful. And to earn not just the faith, but the respect, the buy-in from the fan base, Mike Budenholzer needs to be fired tonight. James Jones, Josh Bartelstein, if you're going to be fired or you're not going to be fired, there needs to be somebody else calling the shots. Somebody else needs to be sitting down and putting this team on the right path forward, because it is on the exact opposite. And whatever you might think that path is, I open and accept every single one of your opinions. Even if I disagree with it, I think they're valid, because one thing is true about this team, and that is that what has been happening currently, the way that it is built, the culture or the lack thereof that has infested that entire organization is unacceptable. Especially for a franchise that has looked fans in the eye and has told them dead to their face that they are going to be competing for a championship every single year. And to even get to that point, you have so much to get to. The Portland Trail Blazers might end up higher than you with the standings at the end of this year. The Dallas Mavericks, who traded Luka Doncic in the middle of the season, who were so injured that they almost had to forfeit games, are showing more heart on a nightly basis and actually making some semblance of postseason action in a league where over 2/3 of the league makes the postseason. The Sacramento Kings are more competent than you right now, and you have Kevin Durant and Devin Booker on your team. I asked the other day, is this the lowest moment for fan morale in Phoenix Suns history? You might agree, you might disagree, but I know that we all agree on the fact that this is downright unacceptable. Read it off. Send your super chats. Let us know what you're thinking. Hit that like button. Our like goal's 200 because we all made it here together. Steven, do we even need to break down this game or the fact that the Suns were up and then they blew it again?
I mean, there's not much to actually break down.
And that's coming from you.
Story. It's the same thing, time and time again. They actually get out the gates. They show up to the party on time, to the tune of 32 points in the first quarter.
Their highest scoring first quarter in how long?
Over 2 weeks. And then it's the same old song. The lead just relinquished. And then they have no response. A role player or 2 or 3 steps up for the opposing team. And before you know it, they're on the outside looking in terms of the win and loss column at the end of the game. It's the same thing. Most of it, again, stemming from the defensive end of the floor. And this is against the Oklahoma City team without 3/5 of their starting lineup, without 4 of their top 9 players. And here we are talking about another loss for a team that should have had more urgency than an Oklahoma City Thunder team that's quite literally in cruise control, hence them not playing 3/5 of their starting lineup.
Yeah. Like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, not playing. Isaiah Hartenstein, not playing. Lou Dort, not playing. Cason Wallace, not playing.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. By the way, Brian in the chat asking for the disgraced former owner to be back. Hell no times 1,000. Hell no times 1,000. I don't care how bad this season has been. There is nothing that would make me want that man in any control of this team going forward. Period. But let's hear what all of you guys have to think. Let's read some super chats. Let's start it off from Bees.
Oh, hold on. Before you do that, thank you again for y'all.
Facts.
Because I could literally be doing anything else. Anything else. And we say that, we've said it often, and we'll continue to tap that sign. Y'all are some warriors. Y'all are some dogs. Every last one of y'all. You might not be watching it in the most enjoyable fashion, but y'all still choose to tap in with us as often, as frequently as y'all do. We appreciate y'all. We can't be us without y'all. So again, we appreciate y'all.
The psychos and sickos.
Whether you leaving super chats, just leaving a like, or you just casually in the the viewing stage, we appreciate y'all.
Yeah, still almost 400 of you in here, despite how just god awful this season has been. But Bees bringing some good news in his super chat. $2 super chat from Bees. Thank you so much. Says the Suns can't gaslight us anymore. Thanks, OKC. Smiling emoji, handshake emoji. Was this okay? This is gonna sound like a really effed up question, Steven. Was this good? Like, is this this is what should have happened, right?
Yeah.
This is what they deserved. It would have kind of been annoying if they won. Or am I alone in thinking that?
I personally wouldn't say annoying. I would say that it would lead to more like confusion, because it's like, why, like, how are you winning a game like this one? And when you have opportunities to win multiple other games just like this one, all of a sudden at the end of the season, I feel like this needed to happen. Rip the Band-Aid off, pluck the final domino down, whatever kind of adage you want to use to describe it. This needed to happen to spearhead the change that needs to take place, to spearhead the urgency that needs to take place for this team. And they're here.
I put a poll out on Twitter during the game. 309 votes on this, by the way. Says, do you want the Suns to get eliminated so the season can end? Or do you want them to win and stay alive in the play-in race? Do you want to guess what the percentage split was between eliminated and stay alive?
98% was like eliminated.
No. I mean, that would have been crazy. 58% to 42%.
So there was still some hope.
Yeah. I mean, and I get it. It kind of hurts and pains me. Like, I'm not going to lie to everybody and tell everybody that I was rooting for the Suns to win this game. The Suns are my favorite team. These are my baby boys, right? Like, I want nothing more than this franchise-defined success. It would mean the world to me to see them lift up the Larry O'Brien and finally win the first championship in franchise history, right? I won't lie to you guys, though, and I will say that it hurt me, the fact that I was not rooting for this team to win. And I'm Mr. Hope. Like, I know people will joke about, like, oh, frosted flex or whatever the hell. Like, I always try to find the positives in things. Like, we signed Tyus Jones, I'm in. We traded for Nick Richards, I'm in. We draft whoever, I'm in. And I've been that way my entire life. I mean, even all the all-time draft busts that the Suns have drafted, I've been all in on all of them soon as we drafted them.
Dragon Bender.
Literally. No, seriously. I was like, oh, yeah, it could work for sure. Modern NBA, right? So I'm sitting here, and I don't want the Suns to win this game. For my own health, for them to send a message to themselves, I don't want them to win this game. And if you ever told me that in any scenario that would be my mindset, I would have never believed you.
I hear you. I definitely hear you.
It'd be like you rooting against the Chicago Bulls. It would just never happen.
How am I gonna root against them if I'm never rooting for? Like,
I mean, we all know where your love lies.
Anyway, my overarching feeling for this season in particular for the Suns is that all of this is cool, like, rip the Band-Aid off. You get to this point, okay, and then what? Are you going to learn the lessons that were presented to you in a loud fashion, thrown in your face by self-infliction, opponents teaching you about yourself, and those two things kind of working in tandem with one another over the course of the season? Or are you going to continue to do this reach for the stars type thing instead of going with something that makes more sense, that fits around Devin Booker and hopefully around Kevin Durant as well? Like, are you going to continue to do this dance with the flashy, cute, loud type of things, or are you going to get the things that have shown to win when it matters most?
Yeah, and I'm all for the flash. I'm all for spending money acquiring star talent, but that's not the only thing that wins you championships.
Well, when you have Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, what more star power do you need?
Apparently, you need Bradley goddamn Beal.
And that's a large part of the issue. That's where the shift really took place.
Oh, I mean, that's the worst trade in franchise history. That is the trade that tanked this team. And there are more problems beyond just Beal. But, man, if you go back in history and you say that you don't make that deal, which without hindsight, I'll be honest with you, without hindsight, I'm still making that deal. Big fan of that deal in the moment. I'll raise my hand. I'll tell you when I was wrong. And I was dead wrong. But without hindsight, I'd still do it. If you could go back and change that, this franchise would be in a lot different of a place. Listen, we're going to keep reading your super chats. Hit a like on this as well. We only got one. We're also going to answer, like, what exactly do you have to do? What comes next? Gerald will be joining us. We're going to play a game at the end. We're going to discuss what songs best represent this Phoenix Suns season. We will
have some fun with that one.
Be naming a big, bright, shining star. We will be looking inside the box, and we will be doing all of that with all of you psychos and sickos right after our first break. Let me tell you about Timeline, because I'm sure this season has taken a couple years off your life and you want to put those back on. And Timeline sells health and longevity supplements featuring their proprietary Mito Pure ingredient. Now you're probably wondering, what does Mito Pure do? Well, it works on the cells in your body to help reverse age-related decline. They've done 15 plus years of research, secured 30 plus US patents for their products, and you can rebuild the building blocks of your life. That's what cells are. Timeline's a supplement that works with those cells to help give them more energy, feel stronger during workouts, and preserve health and mobility as you start to age. Their patented ingredient is MitoPure, a postbiotic nutrient that clears our dysfunctional mitochondria, aka your cells' battery packs. When I started taking Timeline, even though I'm not too old, I just started feeling better and more energetic. And right now, Timeline is giving you 10% off your order of MitoPure. Go to timeline.com/PHNX today to get started. That's timeline.com/PHNX. Use code PHNX for 10% off your Timeline order. Plus, it's getting hot outside, almost going to be 120, almost 100 degrees today. Make sure you extend your outdoor living space with All Pro Shade Concepts, an extended custom fit awning with hundreds of designs and colors you could choose from to match any home and to satisfy that pesky HOA. Patios, shades can keep your patio up to 20 degrees cooler in the summer, and it keeps warm air in during the winter, therefore extending your use of your outdoor patio, a very important part of your home, for much longer here in the desert. The most trusted local shade company, over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google, in business for over 20 years in the Valley. Call 623-204-1476 or visit allproshadeconcepts.com right now to schedule your free estimate. Shout out Optical Illusion, Psycho Blue, Mark, Drew, Casham, Bees, Michael, Boom, GDP, Rich Dog, BC. Everybody hanging out with us. Drop a like. Keep on hanging out with us. Remember, we are going to be dominating off-season content. I know that we have a couple more post-game shows to knock out. Spurs, Kings, those games are going to get off the rails for us, I'm sure. But then, of course, we'll be live Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. covering your favorite team, even when they suck. But let's take a look at some of your super chats. Steven, go ahead and get us started off here.
For sure. We got a $10 super chat from Cameron Thompson. We appreciate you, Cameron. All the warning signs were there since the 8-1 start. Like I said, with my first super chat of the season, KD was the only consistent player, while Book and Beal needed to step up and be to a top-heavy team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The warning signs were there. And you know what? Maybe maybe that's like an entire podcast that we could do this offseason.
Yeah.
Where we look at like the good moments of the season, especially early on, and now with all the hindsight, unpack like, okay, something funky is going on here.
I don't disagree with that completely, but I still also think that they were in a different space early in the season. They were playing a different brand of basketball. Like, just look at some of the things that they were doing early in the season compared to what they've been doing since Christmas or since before Christmas. It's like literally night and day. The pace, the tempo, the cadence of their offense, not even close to the same. The defense is a literal contrast from top 10 to bottom 4 in the league. And a lot of things in the in-between with those two things in mind are just completely different as well. So they were a team that figured out how to win games. Like, to make a blanket statement, they were a team that figured out how to win games. Was it always the prettiest? Not at all. All of those games pretty much ended in the clutch, largely because they gave up leads that they established over the course of games. And then they instantly flipped into a team, by the time KD came back from his initial injury, to a team that just couldn't get to the clutch, yet alone actually hold on to any type of lead that they might have established. So I don't necessarily agree with them, the signs being there early. It just feels like there was a shift and they were never able to get back to where they were early in the season. And that could be for a multitude of reasons, and I got plenty of time over the offseason to dive into those. For sure.
And we're going to dive into that. But I do think to that point, you know, I don't think that it was like, man, they're this bad. The signs that they were going to be this bad were there. But there were certainly elements of concern with the 8-1 start. Like the fact that, yes, they were a team that figured out how to win games, but you're almost 10 games into the season, and they haven't just like dominated a team.
But a lot of teams don't really dominate out the gate like that.
I get it, but you expected this team to kind of do that.
I hear that. I do hear that part for sure. For sure.
And you thought to yourself, like, man, KD's going hero mode at the end of the game, really big clutch time situations. Like, you knew that you couldn't get through an 82-game season just relying on clutch play, right? Like, that's just not possible. And I think I remember, like, me personally, being the eternal optimist that I am, I was like, oh, it's not a big deal. Like you said, they've got that it factor about them, right? They've got that, we're going to go out and we're going to take the game from you even if you've played better than us. I think about the Clippers games at the start of the seasons, right? Even when they played in the Intuit Dome and experienced the wall for the first time. Or the one game where they had a massive lead against the Lakers, that was kind of the initial like, oh man, what's going on here? Where Bradley Beal's like, mama told me don't play with my food, and then your food came back and gave you food poisoning and handed you your first loss of the season, right? Like there was a lot in that first 9-game stretch that I do feel like played out over the season. So I'm I'm interested to go back and look at that. We have a $9.99 super chat from Psycho Blue. Thank you, Psycho Blue, for being along with us this entire season. Says, thankfully, I'm used to this because I'm also a Vikings fan.
Oh, man.
Matt said last year he'd start blowing it up next year, but time to speed that up.
I'm assuming Psycho Blue's favorite color is purple.
I think so.
It's not Ravens purple, but that's not here. That's not.
Well, we'll have plenty of time to talk about Lamar Jackson in the offseason.
We got a $2 super chat from Bees, one of the more active people in the chat. We appreciate you. OKC mercifully put us out of our misery with the melting emoji.
It does feel like a fitting end, a very fitting end. Mario Not Bros 2 with the $9.99 super chat says, send Bud's 18th century hairstyle looking ass to the gulag. Send the entire team minus Book and the Rooks to China and send the front office and coaching staff to Mexico on a one-way ticket and make them fly Frontier.
Why is Frontier getting strays? Why you say
that's crazy. I think we should say no free ads.
Yes, correct. That's
even though we're probably not advertising.
Anyways, yeah. Heard and understood, Mario.
Heard
we appreciate
times
you.
1,000.
We got a $2 super chat from some guy named Justin. We appreciate you, some guy named Justin. It says, Bud.
Say it.
You have brought great dishonor to your family.
Oh my gosh. That's a good super chat. Ranger Roy with a $4.99 super chat says, no rebuild could possibly be worse. High schoolers could score on them. It's 4-on-5 depending on who's in the game on offense and defense. I didn't feel worse than this, I'll be honest with you, in the dark days. I didn't like it, but like the word numb. And at this point, you're looking at draft lottery, you're looking at college prospects. There are 29 teams, Steven. I'm not the first person to say this. But there are 29 teams that are in the playoffs, play-in, or the lottery in the NBA this year. There is one team that is not in any three of those. Would you like to guess who that one team is?
The Phoenix Suns?
It's the Phoenix Suns. Ding. I hate it.
We got a $10 super chat from Jackson Dew. We appreciate you, Jackson. We should start a GoFundMe to raise dollars to buy Beal out. Before I get to the last part, I guess I can go ahead and say it. We just need 100 M's.
That's what you put in 50 mil. I'll put in 50 mil, and then we'll be straight. Yeah.
Well, listen, if I had 50 mil, I'll be trying to own a team in some capacity.
If I had 50 mil, I don't know if you'd be able to know where I am. I'll just say that. Psycho Blue with a $4.99 super chat says, to be fair, a lot of these deals didn't look as bad as last season. This season, we added the deadly isotope, Clueless Coach X, and bumped him up. Yeah, I mean, we're going to do an entire podcast revisiting our preseason predictions, takes that we had and everything. And we were all very high on this team. Not championship high, but like 50-plus wins high.
Yeah.
No bueno. Carlos asks, when is Gerald going to come on? Well, Gerald is getting post-game sound, which I believe we do have some. Do we have that Bud video ready? Okay, so this is Mike Budenholzer, and by the way, Gerald will be on once he's done getting all the sound and everything. It'll be closer, probably 20-ish minutes from now, so stay tuned. Hit that like. This is Mike Budenholzer on how he's processing this season and whether he's spoken with Matt Ishbia about whether he'll be back.
When you look at the season in totality, I know you don't want to do that, but I'm just looking at it overall. How are you dealing with what you're dealing with this kind of season?
Yeah, I mean, you're hoping tonight you get the win, and the game on Friday means something. So it's pretty raw right now. It's pretty fresh. It's been tough. There's no doubt about it. We haven't been as good as we need to be, as we expect it to be. So we got to process it. We got to learn from it. All of us got to figure out how to take this and be better going forward.
The other thing I had was just looking at the way the NBA is with these coaches, guys getting let go. This you to do the third coach in 3 years here. How are you looking at? Have you been assured by Ishbia that you'll be back next year?
No, there's, like I said, it's raw. We just lost. It's been a tough season. There's been no conversations. So, we'll process this and we'll figure out how we can be better.
Before even commenting on what he said, I think it's absolutely hilarious that I start saying, we're going to hear from Mike Budenholzer, and the entire chat just goes, no, God, no, please don't play anything from Mike Budenholzer. We don't want to hear from him. That's how much pain this man has inflicted on this fan base, but no surprise, Steven. What does Optical say? Optical say, please, God.
Optical and Car back to back.
Tony says, same bleep over and over again.
Yo, that's tough.
No surprise, though, that he says no conversations about the future of his job, but Gerald reported it. We've seen it out there that if the Suns miss the play-in, everything's on the table. Well, Steven,
that time is here.
They missed the play-in. If you had to predict a week from today, is Mike Budenholzer still the head coach of the Phoenix Suns?
No. Well, I pretty much kind of said that about, a month and a half ago?
Yeah.
When we reached the lowest of the lows. I was like, yeah, I don't think there's any coming back from this. He's lost the locker room in most respects in moments we heard and saw demonstratively from the two best players.
Mm-hmm.
And they just generally lost the plot as a team.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. It's been that. It still is that. And I think it's even more so that than it was at that moment.
I'm going to get one thing very clear. Frank Vogel was not a good coach for this team. He just wasn't. Do you know how bad of a coach you have to be to have Suns fans begging for Frank Vogel back or reminiscing with nostalgia on last season? Genuinely. Because we were all there. We all knew how much that sucked. We all knew how ready we were to move on from Vogel and how excited we were for Bud. You know how much goodwill you have to squander in such a short amount of time to have people going, man, remember the Frank Vogel era? Just pathetic. Pathetic. We're going to keep reading your super chats. We will have sound from Devin Booker. We will look inside the box. We will name a big, bright, shining star, and we will do all of that right after our second break. Well, I don't think you're going to be buying any tickets to Suns games, but if you do, you can get them for cheap. But I wouldn't. I would instead spend your money on something more enjoyable, either a different sporting event, let's say a Diamondbacks game, a music event, live comedy show, the theater, whatever your other interests are in the world, because Phoenix Suns basketball is so depressing. You need to lift your spirits another way. And that's why Game Time is perfect for you, especially because they've introduced Game Time Picks, which helps filter out the fluff, take away all of the bad deals, and show you the best seats in your price range. You can get a view from your seat. And the best part about Game Time is they will hit you with a 110% price match guarantee, which I actually tried to hold them to by finding a cheaper ticket elsewhere when I bought my lovely wife her birthday gift. And guess what? I couldn't find a cheaper ticket. The cheapest was through Game Time Picks. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but again, create an account, redeem code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. And you want your flooring in your home to be nice. When you walk into a house, I feel like people don't understand this, but the flooring plays a massive role in your overall opinion of the house. Really nice everything else, but the flooring's trash. People aren't going to think that you have a nice home. The flooring doesn't match your kitchen, your furniture, your walls. People aren't going to like the design of your home. And that's why Empire Today is so important if you are trying to remodel your home, because they eat, live, breathe, sleep, and poop floors 24/7. You don't want to have somebody who was working a part-time job before, chefing up, and then going and installing your floors. No, you want somebody whose entire life is flooring. And the reason why their entire life is flooring is because they actually care. And right now, you can schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home, like the Phoenix Suns in the postseason. PHNX listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code PHNX. Yep, $350 off discount with promo code PHNX. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday.com/PHNX for full details. JDQ says big bright shining star equals PHNX team for hanging in there all season. 2 more games left, but I really feel like we made it, man. No virtual fist bump. That was even get better than that.
Yay!
Virtual fist bump. We'll talk to Gerald, but we still have 2 more games, and we're still going to get through this whole off season together. But you know what? Let's name our big, bright, shining star, presented by Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details.
I am a big, bright, shining star.
Nobody. Next.
Again. Not a single soul.
No, literally nothing to
That's
talk
tough.
about here. Well, how about this? Nothing in the big, bright, shining star. What about what's in the box? Presented by Desert Financial Credit Union, Arizona's #1 credit union, named by Forbes.
What's in the box?
Oh, something's here.
Nada.
Can I take this one?
Go ahead.
You always do the numbers, but I actually especially put together this by the numbers for tonight's game. So the Phoenix Suns, of course, lose 125-112. So here's the breakdown of the game. Postseason berths, 0 for the Phoenix Suns, 1 for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Okay. Pain, infinity for the Phoenix Suns, non-existent for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
That's
Hurt
tough.
fans, all of them for the Phoenix Suns. Bradley Beals, Suns outdo the Thunder in that department, 1-0. And heart, non-existent for the Suns, and way more than the Suns for OKC. How do you feel about what's in the box tonight, Steven?
I would say it's very accurate. Among other things, very accurate.
Yeah. Mario says in the chat, no trade clause. 1 for the Suns, 0 for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Also very true.
Yeah. Yeah. Carlos, yes, it was. Let's get back to your super chats because, of course, we do this for you, for the fans. We got a couple of these left, and then we'll continue to talk about what's next for the Suns. We'll hear from Devin Booker, and Gerald will be calling in just a little bit. We'll play a little game, too. Want to start us off?
Yeah, we got a $4.99 super chat from the homie Mark. What up, Mark? If you think this is bad, wait for the next few years of purgatory. Ishbia hasn't shown self-reflection. Will look like the end of the Dame Blazers. That's
It's
tough.
on the table.
That's tough.
It's on the table.
That is tough. I don't feel like you far off with that, at least in theory.
No, and
I think they have more opportunity to not have to go that route than the Blazers did, but nonetheless, they are in a very similar space right now for sure.
Espo said yesterday that there is a way out. We just don't know it yet, and we don't know if the Suns can take it. And I do believe that. Somebody's going to flame out in the playoffs. Somebody's going to be desperate. Now, if it's for Bradley Beal, I don't know. We do have Gambo reporting that the Suns will do everything in their power. 0% chance that Bradley Beal's off the team. I know we've been saying that here for a while. Gerald saying it first, that this team is not going to have Bradley Beal on it next year. They're going to do everything in their power to get off of him. So whatever that means, if that is a wave and stretch, if he takes less money, if you can find a team like Orlando to trade for him, but you know, there's a chance that this can be somewhat salvaged, Steven, but it's a long shot.
I think it's salvageable, but depends on if someone's going to take the bait that you're fishing with. Like if no one bites and you have to bite the bullet that is the wave and stretch process, that's tough. Like that's a significant amount of money. That's a tough situation to be in. So you better hope that the flame out is loud enough and there aren't other options on the market that might be more cost effective for a team to experience, or at least in theory think about more than the Beal scenario, and hope that they, come calling or come knocking at your front door.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I don't have a lot of faith in this front office in a lot of things. I think in the draft they've been good. Obviously, you do not have your own first-round pick, which will be in the lottery, which means that it is possible the Houston Rockets jump and get a top 5, top 3, top 2, top 1 pick in this draft with your pick, unless you somehow get it back in a KD trade, which I find incredibly unlikely. However, I like Ryan Dunn, and I like Oso Iguodaro. Obviously, Toumani Camara hurts, but still your draft pick, still your scouting department. So there is a chance that you hit on another late round player. There's a chance that you make a trade and get another draft pick this year, another controllable contract. Maybe you hit a couple vet minimums, but I'm not going to sit here and talk myself into anything, even if it seems like they make all the right moves and they fire Bud and they move around JJ and Bart, or they fire JJ and they hire somebody else new. If they trade Bradley Beal, somehow retain Kevin Durant, he wants to be here, Book wants to be here, you get a couple draft picks. Even with all of that, if it all looks great, this team has not deserved the benefit of the doubt, especially Kevin Durant and Devin Booker as individual players. I believe in you guys, but can you build a winning team around them has yet to been proven true. Whether you think it's their fault or not, they're certainly still in the mix.
Yeah, and that's the thing for me. And that's why I said with Espo on the show, post-game show yesterday, next season they're going in with, for me personally, with absolutely no expectations.
None.
Like none. Everything is going to have to be earned. It's going to take a full 82 games for me to be able to assess my belief in this team going into a potential postseason capacity, whether that's the play-in before the playoffs or the actual playoffs outright. So they have a lot of work to do. There's nothing they can do in the offseason that's going to convince me to all of a sudden have expectations, because they have to go and prove it in a sustained manner.
Brian in the chat bringing up something that I hadn't really noticed. KD not there tonight. I don't think we saw KD.
He wasn't there last night.
Tonight. He wasn't there last night either. So, I mean, yeah, it's an ankle sprain, but I do think that says something. Speaking of saying something, we have some sound from Devin Booker, a couple. First one is Devin Booker on how he's processing the Suns' disappointing season.
I mean, it's been a slow bleed out. I've been feeling this way for majority of the season. I think the small glimpses of, good stretches that we've played, gave me hope and probably gave everybody else hope. So, you never want it to be that you're squeezing into the last spot of the play-in in the first place. So, kind of expected at this point.
I think slow bleed is a interesting yet appropriate kind of adjective to describe his perspective on everything, especially with him literally being in the fire of it all. That's a tough fall from grace in a sense. You go from over the summer winning a gold medal with Team USA, bringing back a gold medal for your country, being a starter in that group, being as key of a piece in that group as any other for the willingness to do things that are not on this typical script for a game or for any team that he's been on. This is tough. And again, my main thing is to learn the lessons, the multitude of lessons that were presented to you in-house, that were presented to you from opponents. Learn the lesson. Learn the lesson. Learn the lessons.
Cordy in the chat says something that I agree with. Says the Suns failed Devin Booker. Listen, I know a lot of you have a lot of things to say about Devin Booker, and I will be the first to say this has not been his season. This has not been his best season. In fact, it's probably been his worst season that we've seen since he was a young lad on those disgusting, dark days Phoenix Suns team. That being said, this franchise, this coaching staff, they have failed him. Year 10 for Devin Booker was supposed to be a celebration. Devin Booker became the franchise's all-time leading scorer this season. Devin Booker has been Phoenix's son. He has led them to the finals. He has led them farther than any player in NBA history. And yes, he had his shortcomings this season. But yes, this franchise failed him, and this franchise failed Kevin Durant. And that's unacceptable. And it's very, 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 very heartbreaking for a player that we know cares that much about this city and this team. And you can say that he failed himself, and that's fine. You can point the finger at him, but there are a lot of reasons why the Phoenix Suns failed this season. And I think the infrastructure around him has been pretty awful.
Yet and still, he's 10 toes about being a part of the Phoenix Suns franchise past this season and going forward. He's also 10 toes about not going into another rebuild, as he communicated earlier this week, late last week. And as far as we know, Kevin Durant has also been 10 toes about wanting to retire a Phoenix Sun.
Mm-hmm.
Even through all of that, the disappointment, the shortcomings in terms of building around those two, including coach, but also with roster around them, they've still been very loyal and trusting and believing of their abilities and the abilities for them to kind of bring the team together.
Yeah.
That says a lot, but you can only say that for so long without having results.
Yeah. Listen, I know a lot of people are going to get on Book, and I'll be honest with you, like, I get it. I don't think he had a great season. You're going to look back at the season statistically, 25.8 points, basically 26 points per game. Top 10 in the league. 7 assists per game. Top 11 in the league. Shooting 46% from the field. He's only shooting 33% from deep, but taking 7.5 per game. Almost 90% from the line as well. Averaged over a stock per game. I mean, he didn't play awful. He also played 73 games this season. Was it his best year? No. Was he as good as we needed him to be? No. Were there multiple times that I sat here on this very program and said that he needs to be better? Yes. But is he the reason why this team outright failed this much this year? I don't believe so. I think that he has been a part of it, but to say that it is his fault entirely is, I think, just a vast overstatement. Everybody could be better, but was he being put in the best spot to be better? I think back to you mentioning all the different ways that you can use Devin Booker creative offensively, and this team, Mike Budenholzer's team, just did not do that.
Yeah, there's that part, and then on the other side, defensively, I was one of the first to say that he's leaving a lot more to be desired on that end of the floor, but that also comes in tandem with him being overtasked, having to guard bigger wings, not off of switches, but outright to start games because they don't have someone else that they can viably put on these types of players. That's a roster flaw. That's a construction flaw.
Yeah. Alejandro in the chat says, Eric, Steven, serious question. Is Booker a leader? I don't think so. Be honest with you. Leadership is a very tough thing to judge, but I get why you would question it. And I'll be honest with you. I don't know. I don't know if he's a leader. I'm not sure. I can't give you a direct answer on that, but maybe that in itself is the answer that you're looking for. Couple more super chats. You got something?
Yeah, he is.
How so?
He is. For one, you haven't seen him go to the podium post-game or answering questions with media, pointing the finger at people. He oftentimes takes the blame himself. Now, you can say that you haven't always seen immediate reaction to learning the lessons that he's speaking to them needing to see more of at times, yes. But that's leadership. That's one quality. That's one form of it. Showing up to work consistently.
Yeah.
Having an impact on the rookie players. That's another one. The communication part defensively. I've lamented him, although his defense hasn't been great this season, the constant communication. You can hear him literally saying on broadcast multiple times, I'm the low man. I got your help left. I'm left, K. I'm left, K. I'm behind you, K. We can switch this. I'm here. Drop back. Switch this. Like, those are layers of communication. It might not be showing some of the qualities that you might desire to see from someone in a leadership position. Yeah. But being a leader is not a one-size-fits-all.
I agree.
Everybody has a different dynamic of leadership that they bring. That's why a team is a team. Kobe Bryant's leadership is not going to have the same impact that Chris Paul's leadership has, that Devin Booker's leadership has, that Kevin Durant's leadership has. All of these different types of qualities of leadership, when they're brought together, is what makes maybe one leader look like he's kind of pulling all of the strings, but there's just an accountability that comes with it. And each different type of leadership is what helps to bring that floor up.
And that's why I couldn't really give him a straight answer, because people define leadership in different ways. Like, is Devin Booker a leader in your eyes? Like, it depends on how you define leadership. I don't think Devin Booker's bad for the locker room. I don't think he's a bad teammate. I think he holds his teammates accountable, but I also think there is an easygoingness and a laid-backness about him, but I'm not in the practice. You know, I'm not there with the team. I'm not there in the huddles. You can be communicative on the floor, and you can also not be a leader. And I'm not saying that he's not a leader. I wouldn't say that he's not a leader. But I think that the way that certain people define leadership, I think Kevin Durant and Devin Booker do not fill that same role, which I don't think is inherently a bad thing. But I do think the team does need somebody to do that. That's why you needed a Jay Crowder. That's why when we said Jimmy Butler would change a lot for this team, it came more than just on the court. It came to the point where it was, hey, like, you need somebody who's going to get in your face and say something. And not all leaders do that. But most basketball teams need at least one guy who will do that, and I don't see that on this team. But again, I'm talking from this chair, so there's a difference.
I will say real quick, though, I think one good example of having contrasting styles of leadership be effective was the Los Angeles Lakers in the early 2000s. You got Shaq and you got Kobe Bryant, this athletic 7-foot behemoth in Shaq, but didn't necessarily work to the extent, and he admitted it after he retired. I should have listened to Kobe. And you got this maniac athlete that's younger, but he's locked in a work ethic, and his approach in leadership is completely different. Those contrasting styles help to break the mundaneness of a regular season, and they inevitably butt heads. But are you willing to butt heads and still win, which is the ultimate goal at the end of the season? Like, at some point, you have to have a little bit of contrast with the team dynamic as far as leadership goes, to where, yeah, it's going to come with a little bit of friction, but what's the cure for everything?
Winning.
And if the process is what it is, and there's some button of heads, because the stakes are as high as it gets, the urgency should be there, who's going to complain at the end of the day if it's coming with a championship? Nobody. Like, genuinely, exactly.
Nobody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think they do need someone that's going to come in and shake things up a little bit, whether that be a head coach and a player or just a player. But that does not take away from the fact that Kevin Durant and Devin Booker are both leaders in their own respective ways. They might overlap a little bit as well. You can say that might be an issue at times, but at the end of the day, they are leaders in their individual rights.
Leaders in their own way, but I just don't think it's leaders in the way that some people want them to be. And I'm not saying they need to change, but that's why when people ask me, are they a leader? It's like, I can't give you a straight answer. It's like, not in the way that you want them to be. So if that's how you want to define it, then no. But like you said, I think you can define it in multiple different ways.
I'm glad we can have a healthy conversation about leadership, because national media has not done such a great job with that in particular.
Definitely not. Well, we're going to continue our conversation. Of course, we still have more super chats. We're going to play a game. Gerald will call in from PHNX Arena, and we have more sound from Devin Booker, all commercial free on the other side of this break. Big news from David Kimmerly, president of America's most awarded Ford dealership, Sanderson Ford. Ford just announced From America for America employee pricing. Now you pay what he pays on a full lineup of new Fords with no hassle, no pressure, no nonsense, and most importantly, no added markups. Employee pricing levels the playing field for Ford dealers as everyone gets the same set price. However, other dealers will still add addendums and add-ons. Sanderson Ford will not do that. Choose Sanderson because they have the inventory and a 70-year reputation of treating you right. Ford is undeniably the most America-first automaker in the world. 80% of vehicles Ford sells are assembled in factories located in America, and they will be less affected by the tariffs. Now is the best time to buy a new Ford with From America for America employee pricing. Excludes 2025 Expedition, 2025 Super Duty, Raptors, Mustang, and Bronco specialty vehicles. Plus, shout out to Sanderson Ford for sponsoring our hole-in-one race over at our golf tournament happening this Saturday. And big shout out to Circle K. I got to fill up on gas on the way home, but I'm only going to put a little bit in my tank because tomorrow is a big day for Inner Circle members. You can save 40 cents off per gallon from 6 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. So I'm going to put in just enough in my car to get home, and then tomorrow morning I'm waking up and I'm filling up at Circle K.
Riding on fumes.
Oh,
like
yeah, and I have been. Because I've been trying to make it to April 10th, but I've been doing a lot of driving. I moved farther away from the studio, but guess what? I'm even closer to another Circle K. And you can join the Inner Circle right now. It's really easy. You can do it in the next 15 seconds. Download the Circle K app, put in your phone number, put in your email, and boom, you're a member of the Inner Circle. It's that easy. After tomorrow, you can save 25 cents off per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. Save 3 cents off per gallon every day. Eventually, that bumps up to 5 cents off per gallon. And of course, you can win big prizes, get custom deals on food and drinks, all on the Circle K app. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for more details. We will be getting to Gerald here in just 1 second, so hit that like button because we can hear from the man from PHNX Arena. I do want to remind everybody that we will be having a live show tomorrow, and then of course we will be doing pre and post game shows for the Spurs game and for the Kings game. We have canceled our watch party at Gila River Resorts and Casino SWAT Horse Pass on Sunday. We appreciate so many of you that have already committed to coming out there, but we just wanted to let you guys know, due to a couple circumstances, that event has been canceled. Before we get to Gerald, let's hear one last time from Devin Booker on what the Suns need to change for next season.
But this is the first time since 2020 that you haven't been in the playoffs. What do you feel needs to change from this season going to next in order to get back to that stage again?
More than one thing, but it's the time. The summertime is to digest and look back, see what went wrong, compare it to when things were going right, and vocalize that.
For more on what he saw from the arena and, of course, the ceremonial end to this god-awful season, get ready for some girth.
In the darkness, beyond the light, there shall only be one. Welcome to Girth!
It's time for From the Home Court, presented by the Carol Royse Team, your home sold guaranteed realty, where Carol will guarantee to sell your home for 100% of the market value, or she's going to pay you the difference. Learn more at carolroyseteam.com. Gerald, it's over.
Well, no, it's not. We still have 2 games to cover, but you're right.
But it's over. It's over. Like, you know what I mean.
Yeah, for our intents and purposes, as far as playoff basketball goes, it is over. Suns not going to make the playoffs of any sort, play in for the first time since 2020, and it's disappointing. And it's the most disappointing season in Suns history pretty handily, I would say. Devin Booker is not often a guy that gets, introspective and contemplative when he is talking to us in post-game situations, but you can tell last game and this game how much he referred back to, the teams of the past and the things that they were able to do well and the way that they were able to build a culture and a successful environment, and how he even said in post-game tonight, looking at the steps that bubble team made to kind of turn from this NBA bubble sensation to a legitimate perennial playoff team, is something he's going to be thinking about a lot over this offseason. So Devin Booker's kind of right there with the fan base in terms of taking a look back and getting in their feelings a little bit with their thoughts in terms of how do we get back to when the vibes were good? How do we get back to being a winning basketball team again? And like he said in that clip, it's more than just one answer. There's a lot of answers that are going to have to go into this over the offseason.
Gerald, from the people that you either got to hear answer or that you personally got to speak to, did anybody else share some of the same sentiments that Book had in response to what they've seen and what did not work this season and what they maybe feel they should be working towards after this season?
Well, unfortunately, as you would expect after a loss like that, the locker room was pretty much cleared out by the time we got in there. So we really only got to hear from Bud and Book tonight. But in talking with the players, again, I think everyone has been able to label all the areas where things have gone wrong. When you look at the defensive end, when you look at the injuries, when you look at the lineups changing and trying to find workable rotations, the fact that, multiple rookies that were helping this team were benched for a better part of the season. Everybody can pinpoint all of these different areas where the Suns fell short and needed to be better. But I asked Bud in postgame, everybody's been able to label it. Why weren't you guys able to fix it? And he said pretty point blank, there's just no explanation for it, which is pretty disappointing and kind of speaks to the lifelessness and the lack of answers that we've been talking about. Everyone has the answers, but in terms of actually implementing them, we just never saw it this season. And that's why we're looking at the most disappointing season in Suns history. So yeah, it's there's no easy way to sugarcoat it. Unfortunately, everyone has their answers and their reasons. Like I said this a couple of times, you could ask 10 different Suns fans what the biggest problem was this season. You'd probably get 8 or 9 different answers, and none of them would be wrong.
Gerald, you've been in a lot of locker rooms. You've been in the locker rooms of teams that had a worse record than this. How does this compare to any team that you've covered before?
It's very different. I wouldn't say it's worse just because on the losing teams, those teams knew that they were bad and it was miserable, being in that environment 60, 65 times a year. It's different. But this was definitely more of a kind of shook and speechless locker room tonight. And it has been for a couple of weeks now in terms of the beatdowns they've been getting, in terms of just no one really being able to explain why this has gone so bad, why this team fell so short of expectations this year. When they felt, they said this multiple times to us, they felt that they had the talent to be a contender. They felt that they had everything that they needed to be a much, much better team than a team that's not even going to make the play-in now. So it's kind of inexplicable, and the vibes are definitely people are just kind of speechless, just like the fan base is, I think. And I think that we saw that reflected in their play over these last few weeks, just because everyone knows that they didn't have a fix for it. Everyone knew what the situation was, and at this point, like Book said it best, it's just been a slow bleed out over these last couple of weeks. This team has been dead for a while now. Tonight was just the night that we were able to officially call the time of death.
Yeah, it felt like it's been building up for a while. And if you're still watching us, we appreciate you so much on TV. Just remember, the party always continues over at gophnx.com. Of course, Gerald did have an article up that you can read there today.
Gerald, general assessments from just everything that you experienced post-game today. I know you were kind of limited, like you mentioned, in who you could actually speak to, but is there anything in particular that stood out, or any few things that stood out for you?
Yeah, I think this was not something I took from anything specific that was said, but I think big change is coming this summer. I would be shocked if Mike Budenholzer is back as head coach of the Suns. I would be shocked if Bradley Beal is still on the roster next year. Kevin Durant, obviously, his future is very much up in the air. I'm hoping that they're able to sign Colin Gillespie to a multi-year deal just so they can bring him back on, even if it's coming off the bench, on a cheap contract, because it was very clear down the stretch of this season who can actually help you even in a reduced role next year, and who you probably need to part ways with and retool the roster around. So Bud said that he hasn't had any conversations with Matt Ishbia about his future. He's obviously very aware that the job security and life expectancy of a coach in this league is very short. And a lot of the guys that we've seen recently get let go, and Taylor Jenkins and Michael Malone accomplished a lot more than Bud did in his 1 year here. And, you know, Book, obviously, he dropped that clip that we played where he was talking about vocalizing things a little bit more. Brendan Clean from Locked On followed up at the end of the press conference asking, was he talking about vocalizing to teammates or to the organization in general in terms of what they need to change? And he said everybody. So it's pretty clear that Book, I mean, he still loves the Suns. He still wants to be here, but I'd be interested to see how much more of an active vocal role he's taking in the directions that the Suns take over this summer.
Gerald, this is going to be something that we discuss after you leave. It's very serious. If you could assign a song to this Suns season, what would best represent it?
Oh, song?
On the spot.
Oh, man.
Yeah, on the spot.
Yeah,
Sorry,
this
brother.
is a tough one. I'm trying to think of the most depressing song that I can think of, and
Do you want to think about it and give us an answer tomorrow?
I think I'll think about it and give an answer. Maybe we just do a whole mock draft of songs that summarize this Sun season, because a snake draft, because I think we could come up with quite a few that would be pretty apt for here. Off the top of my head, Bringing on the Heartbreak by Def Leppard, throwing it back to the 70s or 80s real quick. But yeah, it's not been good. And the tough part for us is we still got 2 games to cover, and it sounds like obviously Kevin Durant probably going to be shut down. Bud wouldn't commit one way or another, but said he wasn't even sure if KD's ankle would be ready by then. And then Book, I asked him if he's going to play, and he said, yeah, I'm healthy, but might be an opportunity to get the young guys a little bit extra run and let them develop. So I would be surprised if we see the main guys play again this season.
Well, Gerald, you'll be there for Fan Appreciation Night on Friday, where they're giving out Bradley Beal bobbleheads. Woohoo! And of course, you'll be checking in with PHNX Suns along the way. Make sure you follow Gerald at Gerald Bourget on socials. Gerald, you are God's bravest soldier, and we appreciate you so much for doing what you do. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. The feeling is mutual. Have a good one.
I just love that guy. The only good things going on with the Phoenix Suns right now. We appreciate all of you throwing your songs in here. You know what? We will save that for maybe a snake draft, but y'all had some good ones. You also have some good super chats, Steven. Let's get back into those to round out the show. 199 from Tony says, all y'all wanting the disgraced former owner back are just weird.
His name is redacted.
Amen. Amen, Tony. Amen to that.
Sabas?
Sabas. Sorry if we butchered that.
Excuse me if we mispronounced it. Correct me, please. We appreciate your 199 super chat. Don't waste KD. Trade them to the Spurs for their picks. Heard about that.
We'll talk about that.
A week or 2 ago. Interesting scenario. Stay tuned.
Definitely an option. Got Game with the $10 super chat says LeBron and Bronny traded to the Suns. Oh, we're going to do that again. And Steve Nash will be the next coach. ... I guarantee I do not want Steve Nash coaching this franchise. Nothing against Steve Nash, but that is just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, I don't think that's the move. Ranger Roy with a $4.99 super chat. We appreciate you. D-back score more today than Bradley Beal in 8 of our last 10 games. That's tough. Especially
my precious Diamondbacks.
Baseball and compiling runs to scoring in basketball, where your teams are scoring north of 120 points and players are scoring anywhere between 10 and 40 and 50 and 60 points in games.
I'm about to do something that makes me really mad.
That's tough. I'll read the next one in the meantime. Lucas, the homie Lucas, with a $10 super chat. This season is the curse for letting one of our professional teams get sold to the thieving Mormons in Utah.
Facts.
Every professional team in AZ has flamed out poorly since it happened. Crying emoji.
Okay, so I'm doing some really, really, really sad math right now. I'm looking at the Diamondbacks roster. Here are all the players that you could pay combined and still be under Bradley Beal's salary for this season. Corbin Carroll, $5.62 million. Ketel Marte, $16.6 million. So we're looking at about $22 million so far. So not even halfway there on Bradley Beal's $50+ million. You could pay Lourdes Gurriel Jr. $14 million, so you're at $36 million. You could pay Merrill Kelly $7 million, so you're at that point 43 million. So you still have about $9 million to go. Let's see. Justin Martinez can add $2 million. AJ Puck can add $3 million. You can pay.
That's 49 right there.
You can basically pay an entire 9-man lineup for the Diamondbacks with Bradley Beal's salary. I hate my life. Noah, you're up.
$2 from Become See Clearly. Noah, will you marry me? Heart emoji. And hey, cutesy legs. Well, I will say, I would marry you, but I'm married to the game.
So if we fire Noah, then he marries Be Calm, See Clearly.
Noah thinks he's Future. I have problems with that.
Do not compare me to Future.
You said you're married to the game.
Not like Future, though.
Then what are you doing?
Cheesecake.
The Haunted Kiwi with a $5 super chat. I'm glad we could laugh, everybody. I'm really glad that we could laugh.
Oh, boy.
$5 super chat from the Haunted Kiwi says, need Book and KD trades. Your fears of rebuilding don't scare me. I've seen what you think contending looks like.
I wonder who the Haunted Kiwi is talking to.
Probably me. Me, probably. Or just everybody just being like, no, I don't want the Suns to full-on rebuild. Yeah, Millo in the chat says, hard year. Yeah, buddy. It's been tough. It has been tough here, but we keep on smiling through the pain. Steven, any final thoughts here?
I want to get some songs off.
You want to do that?
Let me do some more research and find plenty more.
Give me one. Give me your best one.
All right, let me.
Okay, I'll give you my pick.
I got you.
Okay.
The best one?
Oh, did you write these down?
I did, because these are all off the top of the head. But you said you only want one.
Yeah, let's just give a little teaser. One song.
I think the best one is probably, especially for the hook, Rihanna, Take a Bow.
Okay.
Put on quite a show.
But
Really
they
had
didn't.
me going. Now it's time to go. Very entertaining, but it's over now.
Was it entertaining?
It was
That's the
early on.
question.
It was early on.
In like a car crash way. All right. Here, I'm going to sing this song for you. Okay.
Oh, Lord.
This will be our outro. Actually, let's get this Be Calm, See Clearly super chat out of the way, Noah.
Oh, yep. $2 from Be Calm See Clearly. If you guys see Noah cheating, let me know.
I'll let
Crying
you know.
emoji.
I keep tabs on him. He has to check in with me every night.
I
He has
do.
a bedtime.
I do. What's my bedtime?
You got called
Whenever the show ends.
You got called Timu Future.
Timu
in the
Future.
chat.
Trevor with a $1.99 super chat says, this season hurt more than the 2010 Suns era. That's what I said, Trevor. People got on me and told me I didn't know Suns basketball, which was really funny. But, you know, I feel you. This season really sucked. Here's my song to all of you. It goes a little something like this. This is just the chorus. I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher. And it burns, burns, burns. The ring of fire. The ring of fire. You can follow the show at PHNX_Suns because we do not stop covering this team, even in the offseason or with 2 games left in the season. We appreciate Future behind the Mac, making all of the magic happen.
Cheesecake.
You can follow Noah. Jeez. You can follow Steven at StevenPG3. And you can follow me, Mr. Vocals, at ERIKRUBY. And just remember, that sucked. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 3.
We all silly like the mayor.